What's going on, Guardians? And one of the greatest things about following this channel is that you become more aware about Destiny's lore. And with more knowledge comes more power. And what you could do with that power is speculate and theorize what can possibly happen in the future of Destiny. As we all know, Destiny has a lot more to go. And with the upcoming DLC of Rise of Iron, my theorizing has been flipped on its head. If you're wondering why, it's because I thought, and many others like myself, thought that it was going to be Cabal. I can give you a good 100 facts on why it should have been the Cabal and not more Fallen. I may briefly mention that later in the video, but let's just continue on. Like I was saying, with using your knowledge of Destiny lore to figure out what's going to happen, this is a video dedicated to just that. I've done one in the past called Where Can Destiny Go? Those are much more broad ideas. Things that will possibly happen over the course of years, maybe. Nothing that would be in a DLC, because some of those ideas are pretty out there, but definitely plausible. So what's in the future of Destiny, you might be asking? Well, we do have the Rise of Iron, which revolves around the Iron Lords if you don't know your lore. In this DLC, you could possibly become an Iron Lord yourself. We are going to go to Felwinter's Peak, and there is a temple there dedicated to all the Iron Lords that have fallen. Alongside the Iron Lords, there also is this thing called Siva. We're going to learn more about that. I'll do a video on that. But until then, let's just settle for this. Looking past the Rise of Iron DLC is blank. We don't see anything. But let's fill the gap. Looking back at the Taken King DLC, we are missing a very important character called the Queen, Mara Sov. We're not just going to leave her unknown floating about the outer solar system, and that is exactly what's going to happen. The outer solar system. We're going to be going there. Why, you might be asking? Well, the Queen's floating around with her little sidekicks, hopelessly waiting for someone to rescue them. And who else would like to rescue the Queen besides myself? Come on. This will give us a new area to play in, for example, maybe even Europa. Or possibly even Titan, because Europa is a moon of Jupiter, and Titan is a moon of Saturn. And where did the Queen blow up? The rings of Saturn. So, using my extreme intelligence, I can put together that she possibly could be on the moon of Saturn, unless she flew really fast out towards Europa, or even further than that. It doesn't have to be Saturn or Jupiter, it can be Neptune. It doesn't have to be. To keep things more realistic, even though we're talking about Destiny, it's going to be one of those moons. But this also leads to more than just the Queen. It doesn't have to revolve around the Queen. It can revolve around Cayde 6, because on Europa, Cayde 6 is tied to that. And not only Cayde 6, but pretty much every single EXO ever is tied to that. If you don't know the video I'm talking about the video on Cayde 6 that I did a while back. You can go check it out. I talk about what's possibly the origins of the EXOs and the mystery behind it. But with Europa becoming a new playable area, which is bound to happen sooner or later, just the Queen being there would make it so much easier, and also make a connection to cause us to go there. This will also have us uncover the mysteries of the EXOs, Cayde 6's memories, possibly even build your own EXO. I don't even know, okay? The possibilities are endless. I leave that micro details to you guys to think about. Moving away from that idea, I'm no Destiny developer, but I am a human and I can look at the data. Now, which enemy race is most neglected? Least common, least seen, doesn't even have a DLC to themselves. I've already mentioned them before, so yeah, it's the Cabal. We're gonna get a Cabal DLC. I did talk about this in the last video, so if you're coming from that, I'm sorry for a little bit of a repetition, but just hang with me for a second. The Cabal hierarchy. I talked about 10 more mysteries of Destiny. We don't know much about it. It needs to be solved, guys. We need to possibly even go to the base of the Cabal. Remember, I did talk about how the Milky Way is seen at the bottom left corner of the screen. Why not just add Andromeda? That's the nearest one over. It might happen. Also, people are always obsessed with pushing forward when we don't have a clear understanding of what's in the past. Destiny has an extremely blurry past. When I mean blurry, I mean you look back and you have no fucking clue what you're looking at, alright? The darkness came, okay, the Dark Ages, what? Okay, that's all we have. You can look at the lore all you want, but you can't put together everything. The only name that goes really far back, not as far back as Ares 1 to Mars, but, you know, in that time span of the Dark Age, the City Age, is Rez Al Azir. We'll get to him in a second. What I'm trying to say is that Destiny is not just a multiplayer game. They have to know that. Bungie needs to recognize that. It's mostly multiplayer, and it's fun to shoot people in the Crucible, but it has a story. So why don't we have flashbacks? The Rise of Iron DLC leak that came out before the actual trailer had me thinking about this, and although I was wrong, I was hoping that we would possibly get some flashbacks to the Twilight Gap battle, maybe even some faction wars. That was just my idea. Maybe even some of you thought about that too, because why would we ever get another Fallen DLC on Earth when we have, I don't know, the whole entirety of the universe to go to? I don't know. They just love Earth. I could see why. I said faction wars before. That's because there was a faction wars back then. This would be another idea for flashbacks. Also, it could be like an entire DLC. It's like the history or you can pretty much just go through the entire timeline of Destiny's past, which would be insane. Talking about faction wars also leads me to believe there might be another faction war as a DLC. The New Monarchy are up to some shady shit, okay? Let's face it. If you've seen some of my lore videos, you'll know that they are trying to replace the Speaker and put their own king. What? Oh my god, you didn't know that? Go watch the video. Some problems may arise with flashbacks is why would they just have a flashback? Is someone telling you about this? Who knows about this? Well, one thing that could possibly happen is Frames and Exos have memories, but their memories are not like ours, I don't believe. At least the Frames aren't, so you could possibly even like watch through the Frames' memories. For example, Lord Shax's frame has tons of memories of all the past battles they went through together. What's not to say we can access those memories? Exos are technically robots. We can just hook one of you guys up to a computer and watch your memories, which may or may not be a good thing. Also, that's just saying if we don't have control over time. But we all know there is a little character out there that has disappeared, that hasn't come back in a while, and we don't know her name, but she is a stranger to us, and that's kind of her name, the Stranger. She time travels. Huh. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but the past is very interesting. It's unknown to us, and we could possibly fight in some very old battles. We might be actually important to the past of Destiny. So with time travel, we can go back and maybe even help us survive the Darkness's attack on us the first time, because there might be another one. Maybe you play an important part, such an important part that your name is actually written down in history, and I've done videos on you. Maybe the Titans have a quest line where they are Rez Al Azir. Maybe you go back in time and help the Guardians, before they were Guardians, become the people that saved the city now. Maybe you are one of the founders of the city. Maybe hunters play as an important hunter, like Shin Malphur, Dredgen Yor, whichever one's which. Maybe there is a questline where you can have a shootout with Dredgen Yor. Maybe warlocks play an important person, like Osiris possibly. But it can't be Toland, guys. Toland is voiced, so there goes that. You know, this may not be true. This sounds way too good to be true. This is just my mind wandering. But it is entirely possible. But Bungie isn't cool enough to go back in time and revisit the arrival of the darkness, but we can wish for. And it also, if you think about it really hard, it doesn't sound that crazy. I hope it doesn't. We are dealing with time travel, guys. There's the Vex. Still uncomprehendable to me, and maybe even to you. But there is time travel, and what's not to say we can't go back. But anyways, that's been it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll link the video I did before on where Destiny could go. Part 1. This is technically part 2, but it's not even called part 2, so I kind of messed up there. But please, give me your ideas down below. Maybe a Bungie developer will watch this video and take some ideas from us. Which sounds crazy, but it's not impossible. I also read every single comment there is ever, so if you think I didn't see your comment and I didn't comment back on it, it was because it was so amazing that I could not possibly reply. It just left me speechless. But anyways, that's been it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed. I already said that, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later, Guardians.